Alright, what's up, gang? What's up? Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, right, here we cover self improvement, specifically astrology. And I say that because personally, I've been studying astrology for like the past couple years. And when you get deeper into it, on a self exploration level, you start to see how it really is like the biggest tool or resource, you could use so far as self improvement goes to really, grow exponentially. But yeah, let's hop right into it. So there's 12 signs of the zodiac, right? The first one, number one, it's Aries, right here. Then we got Taurus, number two, Gemini is number three, Cancer is number four, Leo is number five, Virgo is number six, Libra is number seven, Scorpio is number eight, my bad. Scorpio is number eight, Sag is number nine, Capricorn is number 10, the 11th sign is Aquarius, number 12 is Pisces. All right, so let's start out. Starting with Aries, if you were born from anywhere between March 21st to April 19th, to April 19th, you are a Aries. Congratulations. Aries is ruled by the planet Mars, right? The planet Mars basically just corresponds to your primal instincts, your primal nature, such as your sex drive, the desire for food, to survive that hunger in a sense. Your passions, right? Anything you're passionate about, your Mars sign can kind of point you in the direction of things that you might find yourself to be passionate about. If you're a woman, your Mars sign could kind of give you an idea of like the ideal man so far as like his behavioral, wise personality traits that you would, be the most attracted to. And vice versa. If you're a man, your Venus sign could kind of tell you the same, but a woman that you would probably mesh well with, if she display, qualities, you know, represented by your Venus sign. And so the house associated with Aries and Mars rules the first house, Aries is the first house. And I'm gonna do a separate video on houses. I'm gonna do another video on houses and on, chakras and stuff. But basically, to put it in, in so many words, the first house basically represents your sense of self to a degree, the first impression you give people when they meet you, and your physical appearance, right, to an extent. And when I say first impression, well, of course, you know what a first impression is, but the first house is kind of, mainly that, I would say, in my opinion, like, oh, he's shy, or oh, she's really aggressive or really compassionate. That might be how someone seems to you, at first when you meet them, when they come off. And that has a lot to do with, their rising sign or whatever sign occupies their first house. Because Aries is the first house of the zodiac, but it might not be your personal first house, right? That's why you need to know your time of birth, right? Because houses are really important. But again, I'm gonna do a separate video on houses. So the duality, right? Just the natural duality of Aries, like the fiery raw energy that is Aries, is masculine, of course, right? The fire signs and air signs are naturally, on the masculine side, and then earth and water on the feminine. However, as a person, as an individual, it could be, it could depend, because everyone has certain levels of masculine and feminine energy, like naturally. Like, I don't, you might have never heard that before, but like it's true. Like, that's why, there's some women that are more masculine naturally, and there's some men that are more feminine naturally. But that has a lot to do with, the planets and the placements in your chart, and the signs and or the planets in your chart, excuse me. And so basically, if there's more masculine energy in your chart, right, or more fire, more air, then overall you might come off more masculine. You might be more masculine. Or even come off that might, you might just be more masculine. If there's more feminine energy, let's say water or earth in your chart, then overall you might be more, feminine in nature, like whether you're a man or a woman. And so the natural, duality of Aries, like the energy that is Aries is masculine. It's very masculine energy, right? An Aries person, if that's your sun sign, right? You might come out, you might seem very masculine, even if you're not, right? You definitely would try to, portray yourself in that way because your sun sign, the sun, and I'm gonna do a separate video on a separate series on planets as well. But sun kind of just refers to your ego, right? Keep it simple for now, like your self identity, the way you see yourself, or would like other people to see you, right? And so even if you might not come out, even if your first impression is one thing, due to your sun sign, eventually they might realize, like, oh, okay, this is how this person really is, or this is how they see themselves, because people don't see you through their eyes. People see you through your eyes. So however you see yourself and project yourself, that's how people are gonna like see you, and that's how they're gonna treat you, right? And so mode and element, to keep it pushing, the mode and the element. So modalities in astrology, there's three, and modalities are just another way of reading into personality more. And so there's three modalities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Cardinal signs always fall at the beginning of seasons. So Aries is the beginning of spring, Cancer is the beginning of summer, Libra is the beginning of autumn, and Capricorn season starts at the beginning of spring. And so if you just look at it from that, perspective, like the beginning of a season, right? Cardinal signs in a similar way can be seen as like the initiators, right? Of the zodiac, right? One's more eager to start new projects or maybe like new relationships. If you want to think about Cancer as a water sign, even though Cancers are really reserved, I'll put the new relationship thing more on Libra. But even though Cancers are really reserved, I do definitely feel that when Cancers do settle with someone or can see themselves with someone, for the long haul, they definitely give their all, and dive headfirst into it. And so yeah, the mode is cardinal. Aries is a cardinal sign. So especially when it comes to, again, initiators, that's why Aries in a sense is represented by the ram, because rams have like these big horns and like this big head, and they just charge in the battle like head first or into life, if however you want to look at it. And yeah, so Aries is a cardinal sign. The element Aries is a fire sign, right? Mars is a fiery planet, indeed, but Aries is definitely a fire sign. So Aries is definitely going to be a fire sign and be very fiery in nature. Now, fire, the term, the element, when you say element, again, it's all energy, right? It all just refers to like characteristics, behavioral traits, personality placements, things of that nature, right? And so fire refers to, and like natural, biological functions and occurrences too as well. So fire just refers to, a person's sex drive, simply put, what they could find attractive in another person, whether that be a man or a woman. But again, especially if you're a woman, and looking, at men or for a man, right? The Mars sign is like important. And not to make it some relationship shit, because I see a lot of stuff on the internet, that just frames astrology as some relationship shit, and you could use it, to help you in that aspect of life, but it's way deeper than that. It's just way bigger than that. But I guess that's what I'm here for. So it's a fire sign. Aries is a fire sign. Fire again refers to those natural primal instincts and desires like reproduction, right? Desire for food, hunger to eat, to survive, period, right? The fight or flight instinct, a lot of times Aries are natural, not even a lot of times, Aries are naturally, natural fighters to a degree. Like if you piss one off, like you're gonna know. So Yeah, aggression is associated with fire, like all fire signs. Not to say like, not to say aggressive in like a bullying, like overly, domineering sense. Even though it can definitely get to that level without some balance, but and some healing. But mainly I would say aggression kind of refers to like ambition, and, drive, most definitely drive and the willingness to face challenges and shit like that. Like most definitely, it's a fiery trait indeed. And passion, your Mars sign can so say a lot about what you might be passionate about in life, and so what you could be. I would say your Mercury might. Excuse me. I would say your Mercury could be a better indicator, but most definitely in your moon, but most definitely your Mars to an extent. Really all the planets. Really every placement. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Really every placement though, you feel it all. At any given time, right? And so, yeah, it's fiery in nature. It's a cardinal fire sign, right? I just broke it down, the modality and the element, but you would say it. You would phrase it, as a cardinal fire sign. Like Aries is a cardinal fire sign. An initiator, very fiery, very passionate, very strong-willed initiator, right? Aggressive at times, but not for the worst, most definitely. Now, uh, body part, Aries is ruled by the head, right? Well, Aries rules the head. I'm sorry, it's not ruled by the head. Like Mars also corresponds to the head, and every sign corresponds to a body part. Like not just so Aries corresponds to like the head. If you know Aries, they might have a big head, and again, it's not just on the physical level, right? Throughout life, they might develop health issues. They could develop health issues, right, associated with the head, or maybe their eyes. Something like that, or a brain. The brain, a brain tumor, brain cancer, some shit like that. But yeah, as you go down, you go down to the zodiac. So Taurus, corresponds to the neck, and if you know a Taurus, they might have an or the neck and like the vocal cords, and the vocal cords too, and the thyroid, like those glands too, like it's all corresponds to Taurus. If you know a Taurus, they might have a nice voice, or they might naturally be able to sing or something like that. And I'm gonna get into that more in the next video about Tauran energy, but for now, let's keep it pushing. The chakra, Aries corresponds to is the root chakra. Again, I'm gonna do a separate series on the chakras, but to keep it simple for now, if you want to kind of think about the root chakra, similar to Mars energy and that very primal aspect, I would say also the root chakra has a lot to do with your sense of feeling like grounded, right, in life and in yourself, and like confident, right, and not really overly anxious and things like that of that nature. And all your chakras, have to be kind of balanced to a degree for you to be operating like, at optimal levels, right, as a human being. Because a chakra is just like an energy point, like an energy vortex. And so planets, they emit, I want to say it's radio waves, but you should probably look it up for yourself. Like just like the sun emits solar flares, like every celestial body, right? There was even an asteroid that was recorded a while back, like emitting noises, and it was converted into like an MP3, and you can hear it like sound like it was almost like singing. But every celestial body emits like these emissions, right? Whether it's radio waves, it's a waveform, right? It's frequency in some way, right? But on a quantum level, right? So it's definitely not something we could hear or anything like that, but we could definitely feel it. I'll tell you that we could definitely feel the shit. And so Mars, the frequency emitted by Mars, I would say it corresponds to the root chakra. Not even I would say, it does correspond to the root chakra. And my theory is that, and this is my theory, like depending on your Mars sign or any given sign, although like the Mars energy, again, it corresponds to the root chakra, I feel like depending on like the particular sign, it still might be, the frequency might be kind of different, right? Because people act differently based on, their placements and shit like that. So the frequency has to vary, a little bit. has to vary a little bit, even though I feel like it would be in the same range. Any given chakra, like the root chakra, would probably be in the same like range, or maybe octave if you want to look at it from a musical sense, but in the same range. But I feel like it would vary slightly, like the actual number, like the actual frequency, however it's measured. I don't know if it's hertz, however it's measured, would probably vary based on the specific sign, which would result in the person and the person acting differently, well, that part of their personality being slightly different, like it would be if you had different placements. Well, we do have, everyone does, you tend to have different placements. There's people with the same ones, but for the most part we're all individuals. Even if you have the same sign as somebody else, it might aspect or trigger something else in your chart differently than theirs, and so that could cause you to react to that differently. And so, not to get too far off center, but yeah, the root chakra, you can kind of look at it as the same as that Martian energy, because it's all energy. Mars was Aries, it corresponds to the root chakra. It's all energy, but it's like we see it, you see it expressed in different places, or it's like there's kind of like different functions for it. But it's all like really the same energy, not different functions, but again, like you just see it in different aspects, right? Different places in life, right? Because the chakra in your sun sign, is kind of completely different, but energetically, they function along the same lines. And so the color associated with Aries, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm some color psychologist, right? I'm not. Although and you might be aware of it too, but I do know like certain colors, can send like certain subconscious like messages to people, like somehow, again. And I'm not gonna say like somehow, it's definitely like the frequency of the colors, because light and sound, everything's pretty much light and sound, like honestly. And light condenses into sound, so sound is just light, but it's like moving slower. And so red, definitely, just like you can measure sound, and you can measure light, right, on like a frequency level. Like if you, I don't, again, I'm not sure if it's hertz, or it might be something different, of course, when it comes to light and shit like that. But the color red, it vibrates at the same frequency, and or at a certain frequency, probably, I guess you could say, the same as around like the root chakra and things of that nature. Because even I've read like people that can see auras, they even say like the root chakra is red. Like if you look it up, like the color associated with the root chakra is red. So the color red, it has to be, they have to be on the same frequency. And so again, that's why, like fast food places, like a lot of times they brand like their logo, and like their branding uses the color red a lot. And again, that has to do with the way the color red auto suggests, I guess, like certain things to you subliminally, as it pertains to like hunger and things of that nature. Or like I know you've heard like the saying like the devil wears a red dress, or something like that. Like so far as like a very beautiful woman like in red. And you might see that type of character type played out in movies as well, because of like the lust aspect of it, and that aspect of it, which is all again like Mars energy. But yeah, keep it pushing. I got a couple character traits, excuse that. I got a few characteristics, excuse me, a few strengths and weaknesses right here. So strengths, again, Aries as a sign, the energy in itself, is very assertive, right? Naturally assertive, natural leaders, right? If you want to think about just as a an individual, an Aries person, like a natural leader, right? They're natural leaders, natural fighters, of course. That Mars is seen as like the warrior planet, in a sense, like the god of war, in a sense. If you want to, even if you want to think about like Roman mythology, and like Mars being literally like the god of war, right? Or Aries in Greek mythology, like the god of war's name was Aries. Like it's all like all of this, all of like mythology especially, like I would say, is to kind of like remind you on a subconscious level. At least that's what I feel like it did for me, because that shit, when I was a kid, I was really into that shit. And then, I don't know why. I was just really into that shit. And then, eventually it's like, okay, here I am learning about astrology and understanding how it's all interconnected and interwoven and shit like that. And it's really just talking about people. Like, it's all just talking about humans and how we, operate like within reality. And so the weaknesses, right? Just a few of them are the main ones, I guess. From in my opinion, Aries people, can be really compulsive. Like, the energy can cause you, like if you have Mars in Aries, or maybe even Venus in Aries or Jupiter, like it can cause you to be like really impulsive. Like, just the Aries energy. Like, you see how, like, notice how it's not just a sun sign. If you have Mars in Aries, but you're like, a Pisces or something like that, like you're probably gonna be pretty impulsive too. So it's just that Aries energy. Compulsive, stubborn at times. Aries people, specifically, can be very stubborn at times. Aries sons, I should say Aries people. Aries sons, sun signs can be very stubborn, very hard headed at times. And they have to kind of learn to, listen, and, especially like learn to be patient and shit like that, in my opinion, which we all do, but most definitely that Aries energy. Again, they can be short tempered due to like the natural like aggression and like higher levels of, fire. And, on the positive side, that could give them drive, right, to overcome challenges. But on the negative side, it could land them in like undesired situations and shit. Like, sometimes just because of like having a short temper or whatever, just acting too fast, and it all snowballs, right? So yeah, that was Aries energy. Next video, in the next video I'm gonna be discussing Taurus energy, right? And we're just gonna keep going through the signs and through the houses and through the planets. And yeah, hopefully when it's all said and done, you'll have a better understanding of yourself and of, like reality, honestly, in a sense. And so yeah, appreciate you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm out. Peace.